is Greg.
Hi, Greg. What's up?
Hey, so hold on, turning off the radio. Well, Sam, you're not going to like this, but as I promised, I'm calling back with the data backing up the libertarian narrative.
All right, what was the data? Let's be quick, though.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. So, you were talking about the, yesterday you were saying that black teenagers and black men in general are incarcerated way more than other nationalities, rather other races, which is true. And I was saying that they're also disproportionately born in single-parent homes and unwed mothers. So the data is actually quite extensive. And even the NAACP has come out with a report last year concluding that, unquote, the ready access to a lifetime of welfare and free social service programs is a major contributing factor to the crime problems we face today. So this is not just some kind of libertarian isolated opinion. I think there's data to support this as well.
Wait a second. Say that last point. What did they say?
The NAACP said the ready access to a lifetime of welfare and free social service programs is a major contributing factor to the crime problems we face today.
They're saying that crime is a function of access to welfare?
Well, here's some of the mechanisms for why that is. The Department of Health and Human Services of the U.S. showed that there's a 50% increase in when there's a 50% increase, for example, in food stamp benefits, that led, for some reason, by correlation, to a 117% increase in crime.
Yeah, but wait a second. Correlation, not causation. You know why? I would imagine I can give you I can also give you another theory that when food stamps rise, when use of food stamp rises, that is a function of more people moving into poverty. And when more people become poor, then crime goes up.
No, absolutely. So that would be a hidden variable. But here are some undisputable mechanisms. Not undisputable, but I'd rather say here are some probable mechanisms that are in play. If you hold other variables constant, they found that black children from single-parent households are twice as likely to commit crime.
But what is the fact that? But you're still not proving to me that welfare actually promotes single households.
Well, those are actually studies that have been done in Canada and other countries as well, where even not controlling for race or anything like that.
You're not answering the question. Your argument was that welfare promotes single-family households.
Right. It reduces the cost of being a single parent. You know, when you're a teenager and you see
I understand it reduces the cost of being a single parent, but that's not the same as saying it promotes single-family households.
I'm not saying that it promotes it. If I don't know what sense you're saying the word promote in.
I'm saying encourages it.
The cost.
Just because it makes it easier, because it makes it easier to feed your kids does not mean that if you didn't, in the absence of that welfare payment, that you would go out and get married.
No, it means the opposite. That if it wasn't as easy to feed your second and third kid, then you might, try to protect yourself from having that kid, basically.
But no one's having that kid after the fact.
Wait a second. So you're saying that that when you are copulating, that the idea is at that point, and your intention is not to get pregnant, but maybe you don't have access to birth control. Maybe you haven't had the proper education as to how to prevent a pregnancy. That you're calculating in your mind, I can have this kid because I have a sense that Congress in the future is going to expand eligibility or going to maintain a welfare program for me. And so that money will be there and I will have more children. You're suggesting that's what the mindset.
I am saying on multiple levels. First of all, yes, I am saying that they polled, for example, teenagers in neighborhoods where a lot of welfare is received, and they asked, well, how do you feel about having a child as a teenager. 31% said that it would be a problem. 69% felt it was completely, they could handle it. These numbers are completely different in neighborhoods which don't, I shouldn't say don't receive as much government assistance, but I can actually quote you the data, but I want to give you the overall picture of what the factors are. Yes, if you're a woman, you feel much safer. You look at your friends and they are having children, and obviously the state schools and all the public spending goes to raising them. I'm just saying that that definitely lowers your apprehension about having that. Also, as a father, you're much more likely to stick around if you knew that you weren't screwing over the girl by having her raise the child by herself. You always know that the state will help. So all those things are definitely factors.
Are you serious? Do you really think that that is the calculation that a guy says, I realize that you're not going to be getting whatever it is, those welfare payments, so I'm going to stick around?
Well, I mean, how come we have the black family declining since the 1960s dramatically? I mean, a Democratic Senator, Patrick Moynihan, wrote a report for telling this in the 60s, and it just got worse.
That was before the rise of the modern welfare state. So if you want to quote the Moynihan report, all of the context for that report was under the Jim Crow American apartheid era. So you're not even talking about being...
It's apples and oranges you're comparing.
Yeah, that's a completely ahistorical document to quote for the argument you're trying to make.
Wait, are you saying that the report that came out in the 60s was under the Jim Crow laws?
I'm saying that if you want to blame and say there's been a disillusionment of the black family, according to the Moynihan report, as a result of welfare spending, quoting a report at the very advent of the welfare state to prove your case makes no sense.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess to be fair, I should probably quote a black libertarian, for example, I forgot his name. He's like 80 years old now.
Send me the links. Send me the links of what you're talking about. Send me the link that you got from the Cato Institute.
Thomas Sowell, I was going to say.
Sure. All right. But,
yeah, that's a Maryland NAACP report, which is truncated in a Cato write-up, which is the only reference I could find for what you said about the NAACP saying that. So if you could find the original source and read the whole report, that would be helpful. Because I'm sure
really,
there's more context.
Correlation and causation are two different things. But
I agree. And again, last thing I just want to say, look at Thomas Sowell's work in the last 30 years. I mean, he provides data. Obviously, this is his big narrative that the black family was very well affected by. Well, I'm not saying I agree. I'm just supporting, it's an exercise in trying to support the libertarian narrative.
Yeah, all right. Do you find similar data with white families?
I'm sorry?
What you should do is go look for the similar data with white families.
Correct.
Unless
it should be race independent.
Unless you believe that black families are more susceptible to this for some reason.
Well, no, but all sorts of things.
Plays a role,
but divorce has gone up as an example, partially for many positive factors. As an example, women don't have to stay in abusive relationships anymore because they have more legal protections and ability to go in the workforce. The corollary of your argument is this notion it would actually force people to stay, and women particularly, to stay in abusive relationships.
Of course.
So before we just trot out all these things, there's a wholesale social transformation in the last 40 years that have allowed a lot more mobility, and blaming it on funding mechanisms to keep people out of poverty, which mostly just allow them to go to school and go on to college and raise themselves up economically, just doesn't make a lot of sense.